Jean-Michel, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you very well. I heard your presentation, and all I can add to what you said is the fact that after spending, our team spending almost 2 months, very few days after the explosion, we not only saw and witnessed what was happening to nature, but when it was decided to walk away after the spill was so-called turned off, we were there for a few days and we saw one of the pipeline explode. There are hundreds and thousands of miles of pipelines which were built in the 60s and the 50s that are in the Gulf, and they're very old. And as we know, geologically things move, and one of these pipelines blew up. And as it blew up, we found out that we were asked to get away. We did. We came back the next day, and there was absolutely nobody, and the spill was still coming up at about 150 feet up in the air. This is very symbolic of what's going on when you turn the page, particularly the media, walking away. And today, a year and a half later, the spill is still there, present, one way or the other, whether it's what was left from this major spill, which, other than war, is the major catastrophe ever happening on the planet from an environmental point of view. And I'd like to focus for just a second on people. Nature is suffering and has suffered and will continue to suffer. I don't know how the shrimps, the crabs, the fish are going to be able to reproduce properly. But what about people? What about the tens of thousands of people who have been affected? We were in Prince William Sound 23 years ago, and I can tell you the people today, 23 years later, the fishermen, the natives, have not yet recovered. I can say that one of the population of orcas may not make it because of their age. And we need to stop turning the page and saying it's over with. So I really, really believe that what you're doing is very important, and that is to bring to the attention of the public the fact that our representatives, whether it's in industries or government, need to change. We need to change now if we have the guts to look at our kids in the eyes and say, I'm doing everything I can to make sure that you will have the same quality of life in the future, and we won't pass on to you a damaged planet which will have a very hard time to recover. Let's never forget those tens of thousands of people. And I will never forget this guy who lost his boat because he refused to sign the contract, and his brother works for the oil company. How are they doing? How are they doing socially? How are they doing emotionally in that family? These are things we tend to ignore, but that's where it starts in the first place. So, you know, I remember when my dad used to say, people protect what they love. Well, we have a long way to do. And in order to do that, we need to know what needs to be protected, because otherwise, how can you protect what you don't understand? So there's a big job for all of us, and I think we are, with your involvement and your show, we're heading in the right direction. Fundamentally, you know, if you go back to Prince William Sound with a shovel, 30 centimeters or a foot below the surface, the oil is still there. It is affecting marine life, it's affecting birds, it's affecting everybody up there, and we cannot ignore that. So I know it was much different, it was a much smaller spill, and it's a different environment. But when you look at what's happening in the Gulf today, and the fact that we are being told that everything has stopped when we know it's not true, and when we now have the facts of that, we need to stop. You know, we're living a communication revolution, and what you're doing is a good example. We cannot lie, cheat, or steal anymore. We're getting caught left and right all over the place. So we need to sit down, and as adults and responsible citizens of the planet, we need to find solutions, and we can. The good news is that we can. And we've done that in the past with other decision makers in other parts of the world or in this country as well. We can do it. I am convinced that this is a turning point in our history. This catastrophe, which has affected tens of thousands of people and the environment, is on one side good news. And what you're doing is going to help make that happen.
Thank you, Jean-Michel. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.